What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Buds, Bros, and Superheroes. So if it's your first time coming to hang out, let me tell you what goes on around here so we can all be on the same page for the episode. The name Buds, Bros, and Superheroes is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be having a bud section, a marijuana section, really. We're going to be talking about different devices, different ways to do, quote-unquote, to do the marijuana, if you will. And then after that, we are going to head into a bros section where my guests and I both took separate trips to, I guess, the most popular cities in Pennsylvania, if we're not counting the one we're in right now, Scranton, the Electric City, which might be now known more for The Office. But anyway, finally, we will go into the superheroes section where if you're a fan of the show, you know sometimes we stretch that term a little bit. I think we're taking it the furthest now, but it's going to be cool. I think we're going to cover an array of topics that are all kind of nerdy, fitting inside of it, and then kind of hit a new topic that we haven't talked about at all, so you got to stay tuned to find out all about that. My name is Nick James, so thanks so much for coming to hang out. We have another first-time guest co-host, a good friend. Can't wait to get into this. We've been trying for a while, and now we're here, and it's going to be a really good time. Please, everybody, be a warm welcome, and welcome Liz to the show. Liz, please say hi.
Hi. Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land.
Again, so very happy you're here, and thank you again for doing it right after work. That a long day, and now you're here just to talk, so appreciate you.
This is the best way to end a long day at work.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And thank everybody on the other side. If you haven't already, we like the subscribe button and clicks and the likes and all that, but those are just favors. If it is your first time, we are going to start the show now the way that we always do, which is heading inside of the bud section. So to start this off, we're going to have you repeat something for another time, but then after this, we're done because we're actually recording now. Inside this bud section, you are, before you got into the job that we share now, you were working at, what is the correct term? Do we still say head shop, or is that like rude?
Head shop is fine. Smoke shop is fine. Pipe shop is fine. I never thought any of them were derogatory or anything.
I wasn't sure if one was like, oh, that's like calling a cop a pig or something like that. You know what I mean? Like if it had some sort of connotation.
Somebody out there's got that bone to pick with somebody else, but it wasn't me.
And then too, I wasn't sure if it could have been like a legal thing in the sense of, I know going in there, some of my favorite sign that I still remember to this day of what you guys sold, glass pipes. And some people would go in there and ask for another thing, and you had a sign that said, if it rhymes with gong, you're saying it wrong. We sell water pipes. So technically speaking, you didn't sell bongs, but what that was then it kind of derived that anyway. But we were talking about a new device, and I still haven't exactly wrapped my head around it. So if anybody out there is a fan of concentrates, we've talked about it on the show before, coming in various forms. Ooh, let's start there. Like, you like concentrates, right?
Oh,
what's your favorite concentrate? And then we'll go into this new device.
Man, my favorite concentrate it's going to be more of like a generalized thing. I want the color to be natural. So like a natural brown golden, I know I'm in for like a tasty time. And then it doesn't matter the consistency to me, really. Like sugar is fine. Batter and butters are preferable. Crumbles are nice. And it just has to taste good. I don't care if it's the strongest THC. I'm taking a dab. I'm using concentrates for the terpene profile, mostly always. If I had to pick my favorite one that I just had, that Purple Magic by Rhythm was probably like top notch for me.
I heard very good things. I hope to come into some myself soon because it did look really good. Unfortunately, I'm still building a little bit of a collection. Right. I open stuff and then I don't finish it, which is going to be something I try to do differently moving forward, rather than having different stuff, different batches open, is maybe just buying smaller quantities and then just kind of finish it off. Especially now that Grassroots is giving us more grams. Like I knew I was going to have to get the 7 grams of garlic cookies because garlic cookies is one of my favorites, but
absolutely
single grams too. I might try a few of the other ones.
Yeah, just to try strains.
Yeah.
Because I am too. It's hard for me to go outside of my usuals. And I feel like grams are the best way to do that because you're not sinking all your money into something you might not like.
Yeah.
But yeah, for concentrates, it's flavor for me, always. Flavor, always, over anything else. And also with your terpenes, you're going to get more medicinal benefits too, which is a nice added bonus, I guess. So
then what would be your favorite terp profile? That's been like my hashtag of the last sales week.
Okay.
If you will, like every now and then I'll kind of find a new way to say like, oh, look at this terp profile, especially as more brands like this RO, Moxie only list the top 3,
right?
And they list them in the order. It kind of gives like, oh, look at these 3, and you can't really look at anything else. Whereas compared to like, let's say the grassroots, everything. It might not be. Yeah, no, it'll just go in. Is it alphabetical? I've never actually checked, but whatever it is, it could go like 0.9 to 0.04 to 0.1 to 0.7, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is. Oh, wait, hold on. You know, you're kind of weighing it back and forth.
Right. No, I do appreciate at least the top 3 in a nice, clean font that is nicely evenly spaced. The problem with like a lot of the packaging, and especially when you're terpene hunting, is that sometimes it is printed in such a tiny font that the word isn't even a word anymore. You can't really even make out what the terpene is because you can't read it, or it's smudged off or something like that. So what like Moxie and things are doing, they're doing that right, I think. But everyone should have easy access to the rest of them, I guess, in some type of way. I don't know how they would go about doing that, like an insert in the packaging or something, but I think that it would help. My favorite terpene profile, I'm always going to do heavy myrcene. I love heavy myrcene. Even though I'm a sativa lover at heart, myrcene's going to give you that nice mango flavors, and it's so nice in concentrates. Calypso had a concentrate called Portlandia. I am on the hunt for it.
Okay.
I have been on the hunt for it.
I haven't seen that brand anywhere near us in a very long time. So
I think
I can imagine
Ethos might be the
tough.
only place that has any type of quantity of their things. I still never see it on their menu. I will check. It's the nicest tasting concentrate I've ever tried. It literally tastes like I've sliced a mango and ate it. So any amalgamation of terpenes that is going to lead me there is going to be for me.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then I'm guessing then that Super Magic is high in myrcene. And what was the other one that it was really high in? It was one that I found interesting that I was like, remember.
I think limonene, yes. And I think there's also like a good percent of osamine in there, which is weird. I've been seeing osamine in higher concentrations in carts and concentrates that we've been getting in. And I feel like it's a really like looked over terpene. You don't see it in a lot of things, but I've been seeing it pop up in like 1%. You know, it doesn't even make the list most of the time on
exactly
things, you know, so
very
what
is that like quote unquote supposed to? What can it lead to in most patients who find osamine in their product?
So it's actually not necessarily a physical benefit. I believe it's more I am no expert, but there are the antifungal properties and things like that, like the things that are going to help you like not get sick and you don't even realize it. When people were saying that weed was going to help you not get COVID or help cure COVID, it's those like antibacterial and antifungal terpenes that are helping with those kinds of things. So I think osamine falls into that category more so than like a physical effects kind of thing.
It's funny because we get a lot of literature that we might not always DOH get approved to give out to people, but it's up in the back for us. We get a chance to look at it. And I always saw that, you know, if they'll have a profile and they'll say, again, how it could interact with most patients. And I always saw antifungal, and I was like, all right, anti-inflammatory too, maybe is in the same one. I was like, all right, I get anti-inflammatory, antifungal. What can that? So yeah, that's awesome to know. And thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I think that that's where people are leading with like the curing of like colds and things like that, or people who are like, oh, when I smoke weed, I never get sick. And sometimes people are just talking out of their ass, and sometimes there's a method to the madness. And federal funding for testing would solve all those things, all those quandaries, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out in full one day, hopefully.
Yeah.
Or find out on our own.
So the conversation kind of led here because we put concentrates into puffcos. Specifically, you've always been a big puffco fan, right?
Absolutely.
And now a new one came out, and once again, I'm going to ask you to kind of try to explain it to me. So our relationship with this is pretty funny, and we talked about it off mic of like one of the first times I followed the place that you used to work on, the Instagram, and they were like, look at this new thing, and it looked like a little hamburger. And I just sent it to you, and I was like, what's this? And you're like, it's a blah, 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 blah. Rig something with and I was like, okay. But what is it? And then you had to send it back. So I always feel like anytime something new comes out in terms of making things like concentrates work, I come to you. So it's awesome that we get to do it for the show of like, what is this new thing?
The new puffco proxy. Yeah. So it's basically what it looks like is a Sherlock pipe in how they sell it. Now, the whole selling point is essentially you're going to be able to take this device that is all compact into its little self. What I would compare it to is a portable enail, which is going to be the hot box of an enail and the ceramic dish of a puffco, all in one little puck. It's going to slide into a glass piece like an adapter. And you are going to heat it up and smoke it like a dry Sherlock pipe. And you'll be able to pass it around. You can get pipes with water function. Artists are already making pipes for this thing because like a lot of times what Puffco will do is send out the measurements for what the devices are going to be to, heady glass artists so that they can get working on stuff that they could drop right when they drop the device.
Dope.
So that there's
good idea.
Yeah. And it's honestly keeping glass blowing alive in a weird way. Cause like with Instagram, glass blowing blew up and it kind of like broke the market in a weird way. Like, cause you could just connect with your favorite artist on Instagram and you didn't have to go to a head shop anymore. Nothing like that. Puffco is now giving them new things to make, new things for people to buy. Collectors are going to definitely buy into that kind of stuff. It's just kind of keeping the glass economy alive too, which is great, I think. And so, yeah, this new device, pass it around, share your dabs, dry, water, all different things.
So we're going to go through with a few more things. Would it then be an auto drawer, or does it have a button that kind of like sets up like this? Do you know?
I haven't found out how it works other than the fact that it's not app-based. So the Pro, how the Pro works, it's all app-based. Mm-hmm. You can set your temperatures, all that kind of stuff. This one is going to work more like the base model where I believe there are going to be set temperatures that you can set it to. I would assume that's going to be all button activated like the Peak is. And so you'll have like 4 preset temperatures you can have it fire at. And it's going to literally work just like that, but in like a little handheld guy.
As you're pointing to my Peak.
Yes, your base model Peak.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind too, you said a lot of stuff going into adapter, and then there was let's quick go through like the ceramic thing. I get.
Yes.
That one I get. So what actually did you say makes it hot though? You said
so it's literally so how like an electronic enail will work.
Enail.
That's an enail. Okay. So it's like how your vape pens would work, how like that's all built into itself. You just kind of smush it down and make it more advanced so it can get hotter. It can create more heat, more accurate temperatures. It's basically taking what an enail is, which is like the hot box in a coil, and just putting that into a tiny electronic device.
Because all that is electricity is heat.
Yep.
So like you're saying, like you can eventually, in theory, if you had to, just plug a figure out jerry rig if you could a copper wire and just get that hot enough and that could become an electronic nail of sorts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But this is fancy and it's all inside.
It's all inside of its own thing, and you can have a fancy little glass piece that it slips into. Very sophisticated.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. And like
it reminds me of Wayne's World 2. That's the only time like I've ever wanted one. Is like if it doesn't bubble, I don't want one. But I feel like if I were to blow into this, I would waste money so quickly that everybody would look at me like, you fool.
Yeah, it's like at a $300 price point to start, of course, in puffco fashion. And like Michael, for instance, is like, oh, I don't know about $300 because it's not app-based. I can't customize it. But I know Puffco. And the customizable one is like right around the corner.
It'll be coming around the corner when it comes.
Exactly. I was like,
spend $300 and then wait. In just a year or two, it'll be up to $452. When we have an app-based model, it's still to you.
That was perfect.
Thank you.
Literally, you should honestly sell it to them at this point.
Oh, yeah. Guys, you can have it. Just send me one. Just send me one and I'll fucking make a new tune for you every other week, Puffco. I got you. I always found that so fucking interesting about Jesse, Uncle Jesse on Full House, like growing up watching. Like that was his job, right? He was a jingle writer. I was like, really?
No.
And maybe because I saw it on TV, I was like, that can't be real. You like this whole thing is fictitious. However,
that is real.
That would have been a cool job.
Yeah. I mean, I write parody songs about anything I'm doing, so I get it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, absolutely. Jingle writing. I mean, I can go off on thinking about somebody has a job to do this.
It's got to be cool.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you look at my poor lady wife, she'll confirm like what I just did. I did it all day, especially for the dogs, man. I'll think of little rhymes for them all day long. I don't think I've ever had a dog that didn't have its own kind of theme song.
Oh, yeah.
That gets switched daily depending on what they do.
Yep.
Especially this big lug over here. He's a crazy looking one, man.
I used to, Louie. I don't know why, but I used to sing my cat's name to the tune of Louie Louie at her all the time. It was my favorite thing to do. But then I would start changing how her name sounded throughout. Okay. So Sheena, whoa, China. Mm-hmm. And then it would turn into just a chi, just a na sometimes.
It's the evolution, yeah.
Yep, it always is.
Small inside baseball for anybody who listens. I'll have to double check that she'll let this happen. But my mom's name is Denise, and I call her Bare Knees. And you're like, what the fuck is that? What are you talking about, bare knees? And I'm like, no, like, so it started off with like my dad coming in, like, I'd hear her go like Denise. So I started doing it, and exaggerating his exaggeration eventually led me to bare knees.
You played an open game of telephone, essentially.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. And it also then reminds me, too, of, like, that's why Jay and Silent Bob, like, that's where the snooch and nooch kind of comes from, because, like, he'd just be, like, nang, and then, like, nick-a-nang, and just, like, stuff like that. And, like, it eventually went to snitch and snooch and, like, blah, blah, but
just making your own language, essentially, right?
Exactly. What you kind of still have on me with all the rig stuff, so... Really, what was the other thing that we want? So an enail. Here's another one because I love this name. What is an electric nectar collector?
Oh, an electronic nectar collector. So a really popular one out there right now is the Terp pen. It literally looks like a pen with a cap on it. You take the cap off. What it looks like then is an exposed 2-coil or 4-coil burner, depending on if you have like an XL or whatever. And the coil burners are going to look like this little, kind of looks like the inside of a light bulb. I don't know how else to describe it, but without those little flints being on their own, they're like wrapped around quartz usually, or a ceramic thing. It's very small. So it's like an exposed thing that you would put like your dabs into a travel pen for. It's exposed. It's now most of them work on auto draw. I know that there are probably some out there that have button heat ups. All you do is like pull on it a little bit, get it heated up, and then you just touch it to your concentrates, and it's a nectar collector. You just inhale. That's it. It's really good when you're on the go. It's really good for discreet.
Now, as I'm looking at, not only do I have some Cresco in front of me, but I've got almost every other one that it seems like we offer. There's only little bits in all of them. I'm not as extravagant as I look with all of these. Look, there's really only just because I'm just such a hoarder, too, where I'm like,
right.
I could scrape more. I blame that on my grandmother, man. You should see my grandmother get fucking Jell-O, pudding, yogurt out of those things where you're like, Grandma, I'm done. And she's like, oh, no.
I don't think so.
And like all of a sudden, and like, no, not knocking her, because now that I buy groceries, I'm like, goddamn right. But like, she could get 2 cupfuls. Anyway, they're all glass. They're all kind of hard, like right in.
Yep.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, you can use the containers that they come in. A lot of times I don't suggest that because you're going to be burning things, like burning concentrate you're not necessarily consuming. So that's where that hamburger comes in. So it's just a slick jar is what I call them, like a little silicone container. Since silicone is heat resistant, usually what I tell people is you want to like dose out your dab onto the lid of a slick jar or onto like a silicone mat, whatever you have that's silicone, or another glass jar that's empty, anything like that. And then just take it off of that. Because if you touch that heat to the rest of your concentrates,
I see now in my head. I could.
Then you're gonna take you're gonna take a tool to that and like put it in like your peak or like take it from a rig. You're gonna get like actually a little bit of reclaim more so than a dab because you've actually heated that up and vaped it a little bit with that pen, even if you didn't consume it. So you're better off dosing it. I know people though that just go just to get as much as they could, So to each their own.
Yeah. Now, really quick before we wrap this up, and I was going to do it quick, I was going to do it now, but now you've made me think of reclaim, cleaning, and getting these clean as it's go through a process of that for not only my own education, but anybody who's listening. Like, it's hard. It's hard to clean these sometimes. It's a little...
Puffcos are difficult.
It's just intimidating because you do put down quite a bit of investment into it.
Quite
and now it's like clean it, but don't get it too wet, and don't do this and don't do that, and make sure this is right. And then there's goop.
Right.
There's a lot of goop.
Lots of goop.
And I don't know how else to describe it, but then I hear people say reclaim, and I'm like, oh, I just get rid of it, and they're like, what? You can use that for this and this and this. So like,
now when it comes to any reclaim left in my Puffco, that probably goes down the drain or something. Just because I use glass pieces primarily when I'm at my house, and they have what is called a reclaim collector on them. So if you have a bong, a traditional bong, dry flower, and you'd get like an ash catcher for it, and then you'd put your slide in that ash catcher. A reclaim collector is that for a rig. It's an adapter that you put on your piece, and then you put your banger in that adapter, and at the bottom of this thing is a slick jar, and all the reclaim just goes right into that slick jar. You just pop it off, put a cap on. There's 3 grams of reclaim. Very nice, easy. And then what I do from there is make edibles because it's already decarbed, ready to go. You can just infuse coconut oil, butter, whatever. If you want to get reclaim out of something like this, sometimes you have to like burn off the water or let it dry out. It takes a couple of days if you have it like laid out flat. And yeah, it is usable. Some people will smoke it again. I don't suggest that because it's going to taste horrible. Some people will just spread it on toast. I also don't suggest that. It's going to taste horrible. The best way to make sure that reclaim tastes okay when you're consuming it again, gummies I found is the best way to mask that taste. It's undistinguishable. Everything else, you're going to get like a not great taste. Not like an RSO. Like, you know, how you can make a clean edible.
That's always marveled me when I like hear stories about like, I didn't know I was dosed until I was halfway done eating it. I was like, or no, I didn't know I was dosed until I was like done eating it. I was like, no, you should have known like first bite in, if not halfway, like 2 bites in, because like shit tastes kind of you could taste it. If you're not used to the taste, especially, like I'm used to the taste, I kind of even vibe on it sometimes, especially with an RSO. Sometimes.
Yes.
However, like if there was a way to get straight up potency with just a chocolate chip cookie taste, I'd pick that route.
Absolutely.
Like, yes, no weed taste, same weed. Like,
yes,
that's the
and
next
now
step for
if
the
we're talking
program.
about like professional chefs that infuse meals, I'm sure tasteless, but
I want to get into that. I want to do a mac and cheese real bad, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
that's why I like having the reclaim around, because like I don't have to go and get the RSO. It's like I'm also like reduce, reuse, recycle. I am also not going and buying packaging that I have to throw away and all that other stuff. And if I feel like, you know, I'm making something that's got a quarter cup of vegetable oil and I want it a little infused, I can just, you know, wriggle some off a little tool, and it's very, you know, sometimes you want like an emulsifier, like soy lictin, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but something like that. You might need a little bit of that in there so that it all combines, because oils don't want to hang out with other oils, obviously. You just get a little bit of that in there and then you're good to go. So cleaning these.
We've talked about it before. And like this whole time, as you're using words that are just bigger than I'm used to hearing, like just in talks about in the bud section. Like incredibly knowledgeable about all this. I think we've talked about it before about like doing some sort of YouTube series where all I hear in my head is from the Clerks cartoon where they had a science with Jay and Silent Bob, where it was like a ding, 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 ding. Yes. And you just in like in an oversized web and just like and like stuff blowing up and like, that'd be really good.
I would love it. Love it.
Produce it. I bet it'd go everywhere, because a lot of people would like to hear how to get 3 grams of fucking reclaim. A lot of people would like to know how to make these gummies and how to do all this, because I'm sitting listening going like, wow, this is great information. This is great. But I'm still not, it would take one more step for me to really understand it, and like which we can go on infinitely, but a series of videos that like, that'd be cool, dude.
That was like my biggest thing at the shop. I was trying to get like launched off, because with prohibition of marijuana in the country, a lot of people now, with medical being here in Pennsylvania, they're getting into this stuff for the first time since the 60s, since the 70s, for the first time ever. So like, and there's like 8,000 different ways you can consume one product. It's a lot to take in, and there's a lot of people not willing to take that time. And there's a lot of people not willing to take in the information. So if you give it to them in some like stupid, over-exaggerated, fun way that's short and sweet and uses English language,
colorful,
all of that. I think that
subtitles
it's easily consumable, and takes anything that can take the stigma away is huge for me. That's like my passion, is to take the stigma away from the glass world, from the weed world, all of it. So
almost, this is what I'm thinking, a less annoying Blippy teaching me how to do it.
Yeah. Very
TM'd,
much.
Motherfuckers. Yeah. Don't you dare. If I see a motherfucker on, if anybody's listening to this and I see it, I'm going to be pissed. But imagine that. Just like, hey, friend.
Yep.
You're trying to clean your bong. I can help with that, man.
Yes, very, very much. And
that'd be a good time.
I couldn't tell you
Fucking
enough. TM. Trademarked. I'll send this copy of this podcast to myself in the mail.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
I think so.
Okay.
You're one of the only people I've ever known, other than my dad, who taught me that like that's a thing. Like people have said that. I'm like, yeah, if we send this to ourselves and then it'll get postmarked and we don't open it, we'll have proof
like
that it existed before anybody else can say it did, because we'll have like, no, on this date it was.
Yep.
It's fucking proof. Like,
yep. And
people have looked at me like, what are you talking about?
I learned that when I recorded the first CD with my band, because we were teenagers who have no money to copyright anything or get any legalities on music that we wrote, but we wanted it out there. So if it worked, it worked. And somebody out there in the band that I was in still has that sealed thing, and that's cool. So I'll never see it, but Somebody's got it.
I like knowing that it's there. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
for
good
me.
to know that it's there.
I feel the same way about a recording live of us at Hamilton Street Cafe. Like, it was a real CD. Maybe it's broken now. I don't know. But I long to hope that it is exactly where I think it is, in the basement of where we used to practice. Of like, I'm fucking there.
Yeah.
This has been super educational. We're going to look into those videos, but thank you so much
Absolutely.
for this awesome bud section of just like getting to know that shit, because it's been something I've been curious about. Any other questions? I'm going to say that they can at me at buds, and then I'll at you if you're cool with that.
Absolutely,
or like, it'll be all added
please.
down in that. So make sure to follow and like, subscribe, and all those things if you can, guys. We always ask. But we are going to head on out of the bud section and head into the bros section, where we're going to talk about our recent trips. So, as we kind of talked about bringing up into this episode, we each took trips from Scranton to the two most popular cities, maybe even the two most dense. I don't know. I know a lot of facts about my own we'll talk about. I went to Pittsburgh. You went to Philadelphia.
Yes.
How about we talk about some Pennsylvania? I mean, this is a Pennsylvania fucking full episode, man.
Pennsylvania, I fucking love you.
So, let's start first and foremost of how was your drive?
I love the drive to Philly until you get to like the Plymouth meeting area. And then once you're in that area on the turnpike, you're getting towards the Schuylkill, and I start to have a panic attack. The Schuylkill, which is, my dad has been calling it the Schuylkill since I was an infant. So that's all I have in my head, is that like we're going to get into an accident on this road. But to be completely honest, we went down late Thursday night, so, and our hotel right in Center City, right in Chinatown, so you not far off your exit. Not bad. How was yours?
So the way that it worked out, and we'll kind of save to where we went at the first part of our trip to segue us perfectly into superheroes, was right outside of Pittsburgh. So kind of the same thing that you're saying, in the sense of we went early enough on a Friday and only got so far into it that trip was really well. And then after the first event, getting from there into Pittsburgh proper was like super duper easy. It was almost like, oh, you're over the bridge and there it is. Like, we got to pull right in, and then we paid for parking for the weekend, which is what it is. But like, when I looked at exactly where I was like, fuck you, street parking. Not even if it was free, not even if it cost money, not even if they like said Batman's going to watch this fucking car right here. I'd be like, nah, I'm going to pay to put it in a garage. So to be honest, it was an easy choice. And I didn't make them go get it a bunch of times. Like, we walked a shit ton, did a ton of walking, had to do a lift once.
Okay.
I thought about getting one of those scooters, but I don't know.
No,
I trust me on a scooter. I don't, traffic didn't.
Yeah, no, I don't trust. That's, Michael really wanted to get city bikes. And I was like, I love the idea of that, but I don't live in a city. So I don't street ride at all. And I will get nervous and like jerk around, and like you have to be very precise in a city when
bike lanes are so small.
They're so small, and people disregard them completely. Like, I was in many an Uber this weekend that we were driving in a bike lane. Like, you know what I mean? So I won't do it. There is a really nice like trail in Philly by the Rocky Steps, like the art museum and stuff. I'd ride my bike there. I'd definitely go back just because it's like right along the Schuylkill. It's beautiful and it goes for miles, but not in the city. I don't want somebody to squanch me.
I can't say that I've been to Philadelphia. I know that I have. I can't say that I have. I mean, I wasn't like a young kid or anything, but really just I've been told that I've been there, so it's a place that I want to get back to. Because when you said the Rocky Steps at first, I was like, maybe they're rocks made out of steps, or maybe they're steps made out of rocks. Maybe it's carved into a mountain. Are there mountains in Philadelphia? And then I was like, no, you freaking non-sports playing son of a bitch. It's Rocky. Like, dun, 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 like he charges up steps. He charges up the steps. He charges down the steps. I just don't get the sports, dude. No references. I don't think I've seen one of those. And it kills my wife. It kills her. Because on Mr. Movie, you have to sit there and watch that, and then she does, and she's like, "Yeah, maybe you'll watch Rocky." I was like, "No."
I honestly, I think you should. I think it's so like when it comes to like those kinds of movies, I feel like I have to like really suspend disbelief in a way. And like at that point I just like, okay, he's just a caricature. So then it's just funny to me. I don't look at it seriously at all. It's literally like a comedy in my mind.
Gotcha. If I start anywhere, I think I'm going to start with Michael B. Jordan. I'll start with Creed. And if I can get through that, because again, boxing.
No, I get it.
I don't know. Even the sports genre, very few and far, almost like the horror genre for me. Like, can I say no to the entire thing? Absolutely not. But like, very few and far between. Again, for Mr. Movie Guy, have you seen this, and this? Like for sports dramas and stuff like that, it's like Remember the Titans is in there. You know,
of course. I mean, like, there are classics.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, the Rocky franchise. Maybe that's the other thing. I'm like, I'm not watching 8 of them. I'm not doing it.
You don't have to.
I watch the one with
you
Mr.
could stop
T,
at
maybe.
4.
Okay.
4 is actually how like my honors history teacher tried to teach us about the Cold War. Honors history, Rocky 4. That was something.
Yeah. I always thought like mix up genres, and I want to call him Khal Drogo, and I'm like, no. That's Game of Thrones. He was not in that. That's another guy. But
oh yeah. So back to Philadelphia. I love walking around the city, and that's usually like my go-to, but it was 100 degrees on the day we had to spend in the city. So I balled out more on Uber than I ever have in my entire life this weekend. And it's devastating to me because Philadelphia is like one of the best. If you like walking around a city, if you really appreciate that experience, Philly is like the way to go, in my opinion.
nice.
Better than New York. Like it's a little more quaint, I guess you could say. Because obviously it's like you still got your cobblestone streets and everything's squished on top of each other. But I highly suggest it on a nice day when it's not 100 degrees.
It's funny that you say that because it's almost the exact same thing that I would then say about how we felt about Pittsburgh. Of like, it's like a smaller New York where I felt like really city-like, but not exactly so rushed and not exactly so crowded. But look, there's a bunch of tall buildings and stuff like that. And again, for the walking, we had a colder day, but a beautiful one. And we took a free walking tour where at the end, she was like, I take tips. It's kind of how I get paid for this. So it'd be appreciated. Thanks. Have a great day. Like, that's how it ended. I was like, goodness. Oh, okay. That's like, that's how you fucking.
Yeah. Here's $20.
Yeah. And that's what exactly. Yeah. We looked at her and we're like, all right, fine. Here you go. Because she did. She was freaking cool.
Yeah.
You know, we're there for Juneteenth celebration.
That's amazing.
We are those type of people, man. Like, we were going there for the first thing that we're going to again say sorry, but what a awesome time to be quote unquote stuck in the middle of the heartland of Pittsburgh, of walking around. All the vendors are set up.
Oh my goodness.
Everything's going on. The smells are incredible. So like, it was even then having a funner New York because again, you didn't feel as crowded. You didn't feel as crazy. But just the array of everyone, it was cool.
Yeah.
And then we saw this place, Market Square, where they're like, no, this is just what they do here. And we're like, really? And they're like, yeah, all the time. That's what they do here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We stayed right next to Reading Terminal Market, which is like what I think it's Pennsylvania's oldest general store is what it's called, referred to as. Maybe I'm wrong. And there you can, like, I've never seen so many meat counters in my life, but like fresh every day, and there's always so many people in there, and you can get everything. They have fresh produce every day. I had the best cup of coffee I've ever bought on a whim, and I got it out of a window there.
I like that. Okay.
And it has to be, you're in a city, it has to be good. It's not like here, you know, you roll your dice on a Dunkin' Donuts and it could be either a great experience or like the worst coffee experience you've ever had, depending on how it's made. This was perfect.
We went to Waffles Encaffeinated.
Okay.
simple breakfast we got, but they still couldn't even leave it simple. My wife got hash browns, and like they had sweet potatoes, purple potatoes, and regular potatoes, like all kind of mixed in there with salt and pepper and stuff like that. Even her eggs came on a small plate with like, and then I got just a waffle, and like that was kind of the sin of it, because we went to this place and like the coffee. That's why I bring it up. The coffee was just, it was a real Twin Peaks moment of like, that is a fine cup of coffee.
Yes,
but they had one where they put bacon, egg, and cheese inside the waffle batter and make you a waffle with bacon, egg, and cheese, and then put bacon, egg, and cheese on it still, where I was like, this is great, but I'm not a wake up and eat guy. I cannot. I wanted it. They had chicken and waffles, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted it real bad, but there was no way it would sit on the plate, and I would honestly just cry, because we had stuff to do. We had to get to the walking. I couldn't bring back Polo. But the coffee was, again.
Traveling and having a good cup of coffee is not something that happens very often. Mm-hmm. Especially, you'll get like the Keurigs in your hotel room, and it's like, I wish I brought my own pod for this, because this is the worst cup of coffee I've ever had in my entire life.
We had the same trip. I was so excited when I broke the room door, like broke it. When I entered the door, when I got in there, I saw a Keurig, and I was like, bro, Keurig, it's name brand. But like, I've never had a bad K-cup until this week. It was the worst. And Meg served me in bed with it, like, good morning, because I'm horrible in the morning and shit. And it's like, giving it to me. And I sipped it, and I was like, oh, we're getting up right now. And I stormed out of bed, because I was like,
gotta go.
This isn't even kind of acceptable. It's not even good enough to get the end. I wouldn't even dare put this in the engine. It's like taking a bottle of grain alcohol and putting it in your car engine and being like, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Get through it. Like, no, would not do that to my poor system. And I think I honestly chose an energy drink. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I still have one of these, honestly, Mountain Dews, or what are they called?
Yeah. Yeah. I love, and like, I always have to have like a Red Bull or two with me when I'm traveling, just in case good coffee can't be found. Luckily, when you're going to a city, you'll get one eventually. You'll find a place that and can trust eventually. Yeah. But
they're Dunkin'. Like, we kind of poo-pooed them. That one that we went to is actually fire. Got a strawberry frosted donut, and we both said it. Like, at that point, I hadn't eaten anything other than waffle. I was like, am I hungry, or is this like a really amazing donut?
That's awesome.
And Meg had some. She's like, no, it's a really amazing donut. And then, too, they're so far in the future there that they give you those fun lids that just like have it be a sippy cup for even your iced coffee, so you don't need the straw. We walked out of there, we each have our shit, and we're just like, yeah.
The cold foam gets you that lid.
Yeah.
And I know, like, it's expensive, and it's like also super fattening and all of those things, but it gets you that lid.
The lid's worth it. I wonder if I could just order it. Can I get a large coffee with the special lid?
Yeah, like,
or maybe it's because I got a small. I never get a small iced coffee, so maybe they all come.
But they know they have doesn't matter what size I get, it comes with that lid on it. So just be like, please, like, especially at the one down the, like, they know you by now. Can I get
they 100%
will you please give me the sippy lid?
Yeah, that's how I'm going to order it. Can I have the sippy lid, please, for the love of fucking God? I hate the straw. I think it's so awkward sometimes. But you got to stir the bottom, because I like the caramel. So you got to sometimes. Debating myself. Do any straight up touristy things?
Actually, I did like one of the weirdest, funniest touristy thing. So I was telling you, it was hot, and we were going to take an Uber to one place so that we can be in one place. And if we wanted to go anywhere else, it would have to be close by. So we took an Uber to Market Street, which is like the oldest inhabited street of commerce or whatever. And right off of there is Ruckus, which is Primal, but in Philly. So like the glass shop. And we went in there and we like browsed all of like the fancy behind like display case glass and just bopped around. Got a mystery bag from there because they do that too. So I like bought a $15 mystery bag just to get something.
What was the mystery, really quick?
So you get like normal things, like some stickers, like a discount card that like Primal always has, a wrap, which was a high hemp, which that's nice. I like those. A lighter, not a Bic, like one of the crack lighters, like the plastic pink guy, which was off-putting. And then a pipe, which was cool. And I was excited. I was like, it's, just like a tiny, like 3-inch little thing. And I'm unraveling it. And it's like a clear cobalt blue. And that's cool. Just something that I could, like, I have so much glass. It's not really necessary. But then, like, I finally get it off. And there's this like weird sandblasted on like Rick and Morty like morphed little pic, and like I don't know if you've been in a head shop recently, but they'll like do cartoon characters that like look weird and melted and like ugly for some reason. It was just like a weird little sticker like that, and I'm like, oh. I like Rick and Morty, but I don't need a pipe with them on it.
Yeah.
I feel like it associates you with like a weird vibe.
Yeah. Especially if you break it out like, oh, you like this too? Let me. And like, then you have people like, don't you love in this episode? Like, and
then I'm like,
oh, no.
I watch
it's like
it in
a grandfather, right? And like an uncle. And they're like, it's not an uncle. And you're like, oh my God. What the
I'm
fuck?
sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not an uncle. Oh, yeah. So from there's this place called Brownies, and it's a bar on 2nd Street.
I was hoping for brownies.
I know. It's just like a really cute hole in the wall that I love. But they were building a building off of the side of it, and everything, like there was so much construction going on, and it was hot. We needed like some water and stuff at this point. So I was like, okay, we'll go to Mac's Tavern, which is owned by Rob, who plays Mac in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
See, that I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's one of those ones where,
okay.
like, I know Danny DeVito's in it. I know Charlie.
Yes, Charlie Day. Yes,
I know him because he's in Pacific Rim, and I like that one movie. That one time was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't tell you
anything else past that. But that's okay. It's really like
it's cool though that he's on the show and then has a place there. Like that's
him and so he's
like Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash in a way.
Yeah,
like, exactly. From New Jersey actually owns something there. Like, like
they have like a mural on the wall, and like there's pictures of him bartending there and stuff like that. So
cool.
It obviously lost its like luster. It's one of those things that when the show was like really popular and it just opened, there was like a line out the door to get in, and now it's like it seems like there's it's like it really is. It's like a regulars place. Like the bartender, it wasn't too busy. Like we were able to get a table, and the bartender knew everybody that she was like waiting on and stuff. So that was actually kind of nice because it wasn't too. Usually when you're down there, it's like it's a tourist area, so it's everything's always packed. It's crazy, loud. So, and then other than that, we like did what we were there for. Like the show that we went to, and we had a dinner reservation at a place called Butcher Bar, which was incredible. Nice. So good. Yes.
Alexa just tried to tell me something, and now I said her name, so now she's going to be angry. Cancel.
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
Cancel. Always listening. Always listening.
Siri does it to me too.
Yeah.
Always. I have a home pod. Anytime you say something with a re, there she is, like talking underneath my Lego sets. So
this one's annoying because it's in so much media that like I was trying to watch a recent episode of something. Maybe it was South Park. And like it was in the future, and they had come to a point where like that name, I'm not going to say it now, that AI system can now like form a human person, or at least hologram,
Yes.
blah, blah. So he's constantly, I'm going to say your name in place of us. He's like, no, Liz, this isn't going to happen. No, Liz, I don't want to do this. But every time he's saying Liz, which is really the name I'm not going to say, this bitch is going off in my corner. Like, I'm trying to watch the show, and she's like, I can't really hear you. And I'm like, can you? Well, and what am I supposed? I'm supposed to pause it and read. Like, the whole thing was a freaking shit show. And to be dead honest, I think they did that on purpose for that reason, and that's hysterical.
I love it. It is.
I really think they put that name in there to flip out 100 billion homes at once.
I love it because it's like they're starting like the stupid iRobot. Like that's it's really what and that's what it feels like to me when stuff like that is happening. I'm like, oh my God, the machines are taking over.
I don't want to not talk about your event, so really quick do that, because this is something that fucking fascinated me from, like, I learned about it through a record that you got, and then like, let's just go ahead and,
yeah. So we went to see live improv show called the George Lucas Talk Show. And we found out about this through a mutual friend of ours who got into watching it on Twitch through a channel called Planet Scum Live that got developed because of the pandemic. A lot of improv got, obviously, like a lot of theaters got shut down permanently because of the pandemic.
I know my mom's on the other end. Twitch is a streaming platform. You know, it's kind of like you can go live. It's almost exclusively for going live.
Yes.
You know, you can maybe put up past videos once you're done and have them on your stream, but you can't just post videos. You have to go live to do it.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting concept for them of an improv, and that's what makes it improv. Like, we're fucking live, guys.
Exactly.
Anything can happen. And then finally, too, George Lucas is the Star Wars guy. So go ahead.
Yes, the Star
I know my
Wars
mom
guy.
listens, so like,
I
let's
love
get her
that.
right up to
yes,
speed.
Absolutely. It's like cliff or citations for the
read
whole
the bottom.
thing.
There's a little
little
asterisk.
Yeah. So they started doing it on Twitch, and we started watching it, and it's a man pretending to be retired filmmaker George Lucas. And after Disney took all of his babies, he needed something to do. And his museum is still being tied up in LA, so he's going to do what every good, like, you know, white-blooded American, red-blooded, white-blooded, whatever. He wants to do a talk show. And that's what they're doing. He has a sidekick. His original sidekick was Jar Jar Binks, played by, I believe, Sean Diston, who is a comedian. Now his sidekick is Watto. So it is a man in a blue man suit with a nose and fairy wings, and he talks in a thick accent.
I was going to say, does he talk in the voice?
And his real name's Griffin Newman, and he sounds nothing like that. And it's wild, the transformation that happens. Has a belly, the whole thing.
All I can hear is, credits will do fun. No, they won't. What do you think? You're some sort of Jedi or waving your hand? Like, that's funny because I can already build it in my head. That's awesome.
And I couldn't tell you. There's a very loose premise, and that's how they explain the show.
No, that's perfect, because anybody who's listening, like, that's got to be enough to grab you. There's got to be a few keywords where, like, I know I have to look into it. I knew that I did when I saw the record, and like stuff has to, but that's fun. So you were there then live, like it was.
Yep, happening in front of us finally for the first time.
Now, did that always happen? / do they Twitch the live ones now? If no,
so before the pandemic, I believe it was a running UCB show for a few years. It happened regularly live on stage. It literally was reformatted because of the pandemic and keeping the show alive.
Okay.
And in a weird way, it made the show much more than what it ever could be as a live stage improv show, because there was a lot of there's a ton of fan interaction that happens. Live fan art goes up throughout the entire thing. Episodes can go on for upwards of like 5 hours. They call those Irishman Plus. Anything that runs past the Irishman's runtime.
Okay.
And like a lot of hashtags that people use, like they'll have like a a list of like 15 hashtags that incorporate titles of George Lucas films and the names of the guests that are going to be on the show. Or like something that they're talking about. I wish I can think of one off the top of my head, but they did like a watch through of all of the Air Buddy movies. And so like American Graffiti is a George Lucas film. American Grabuddies, I'm pretty sure, is one of the hashtags. So it's ridiculous. It makes no sense.
I like that, though.
Yes.
That's what's kind of fun about it.
Yeah, it's really fun and stupid and silly. And I feel like people need more of that in this world.
Goddamn right. Cannot even. Yeah. Yes. Very.
And we
much
got to meet them at the end of it and get posters
Come on,
signed.
bro.
So it was really cool. Yeah.
It is. God, I love that.
Yeah.
And they were cool.
They were, oh yeah. I got to actually, their like producer, he is actually their producer, but he also plays the bits on stage too. I got to meet him previously in New York City when we went to a different live podcast taping. But yeah, it was honestly like the guy who plays George Lucas, I was a little starstruck by, because like he does a lot of other things that I'm super into, like weird things, like recording a album with Mikey Erg, like a Christmas album, weirdly, with like a pop punk legend. So I almost
Doesn't it make
fangirled.
perfect sense?
Yes,
And
exactly.
Like, no, but I wanted like now it does. Like those are the type. Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So that was my experience.
That's awesome. And then finally, you said dinner. How was dinner?
Dinner was incredible. It was at it's like a meat place. Like they had, you can pick your own steak out, all that kind of stuff. We had incredible food. This Brussels sprouts thing that I am still thinking about. Balsamic, charred, all my favorite things. And the drinks were nice. Our server was great. I tipped him like 45% because I was just smitten with the service. We got to sit upstairs away from everybody. It was great. So, and I don't get any experience like that around here. So it was like really greatly appreciated.
Was Philadelphia really fucking nice to you in terms of people?
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh was really nice. And then we even stopped for gas and like we had this funny quote unquote car crash situation in Sheets of people. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
When like 3 people are trying to leave, 4 people trying to get in, 1 door is locked, and everybody's like, what the fuck happens? And usually in Pennsylvania, you get an eye roller like, come on, or just a fucking something where everybody was like, no. Oh, okay. Well, I'll stay here. You come out. All right, you two have a great day. Oh, you're coming in now. And like as we're leaving, we still hear them like, all right, everybody. And we were just like, why the fuck do we have to go home right now? Like,
why is everybody so mean at home?
Yeah. But in the middle of our day, we decided to stop for just a little snack. And it's funny because we ended up stopping at a place just because it was outside. We could sit outside. We get the menus and like it's family style dinner. Like order a fucking chicken and 10 potatoes. And we're like, oh, no. And like drink a lot of beer.
Yeah.
Meg's a vegetarian.
Yep.
Ordering an entire chicken's not going to fly.
No.
So we sit down, we get some of the most delicious fucking hush puppies. They were made with jalapenos inside and just
that.
amazing.
Love
and French
that.
fries. And we each get soda. We don't drink. I don't drink. Meg wasn't drinking. It's not. So the bill was just minuscule. And we got to do the same thing of like, we tipped 100%. I'm just like, boom, right on top to be like, there you go, girl. You have a great day. Because she was cool. She came over and was just super personable and like didn't get shitty that we were like, can we have almost like nothing?
Yes,
you
right.
know, we're doing nothing other
You
than
could
taking
usually,
up
like-
space and trying to like eat really quick and get the fuck out of here.
right.
But like literally less than $20. Go get it really quick because we're hungry, almost kind of thing. And we were just like, there you go, and just made someone's day. Just
I feel
was
like
cool like that.
too, like with tourist cities, when you work at a place, like I feel like you're kind of on guard because like tourists can be really crummy.
Mm-hmm.
And
they
I feel like
entitled more than anything.
Yeah,
Like,
so sometimes-
I'm here on my vacation, and
Yep.
this is one of 4 dinners I'm going to have, and you're ruining 25% of my dinners.
Yep.
And you're like,
so
wow,
I
you
like
did
to
a lot of
I
math
just
to
really
insult me.
like to like reverse expectations all the time.
same.
I'm never going to be a hassle. If something's wrong, probably not even going to tell you.
Mhm.
And as long as you're not mean to me, and you did your job correctly, because everything past that is on somebody else. You're going to get a good tip from me.
Yep. We did the same thing, and the two simple things we got were freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So anybody who doesn't know what a hush puppy is, it's pretty much just fried cornmeal with corn in it. But again, they put jalapenos, jalapenos. I know how to say it. I know you know. For anybody out there who's going like, is he fucking serious right now? Like, I was on board with this guy. Filthy mouth. But if he really says jalapenos, I'm out of here. Really good. The thing that tied both, because the french fries were just french fries, but both had sauces that complemented so well. Like a good aioli with french fries makes french fries like french fries. Like all of a sudden they are the fanciness. Like, I don't have mayonnaise, I have aioli for my french fries. Oh.
Woohoo.
But we did that in between. One other thing I wanted to bring up was this comic book shop / entertainment shop / everything shop, Edie's. It's 4 floors of awesome.
Oh my God.
You go down to the basement.
Sounds
for
like heaven.
Dude, I said to Meg, I was like, I can really just, maybe we'll stay. The bottom is all back issues, toys. They had some Mighty Morphin Power Rangers stuff, but I was like happy just to look at. Wasn't going to pull the trigger on anything, but like, it was cool just to be like, oh, I know that. That's cool. Middle floor was more so movies, DVDs, lots of Blu-rays. Third floor, Meg, which one was the third floor? Because top floor, fourth floor was vinyl.
Ooh,
all vinyl CD.
Yes.
Some CDs. I don't think I saw one cassette. But what was the third floor in between? Was it more movies, more DVDs, more laser discs?
Ooh, wow.
More kind of older media, and maybe even some books about movies. It was more like movies old, where like the bottom was again a lot of Blu-ray and
more
just kind of like
modernized.
if you're going to come into only the first floor, let's get a little bit of stuff out here, a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I only picked up buttons and stickers because of travel reasons and of course funding reasons. But like some of my favorite buttons and stickers now, like this Monsters one, like I saw at the end in the last second. I was literally eyeing
that up, like immediately. Like it's so good.
The last second I saw it, I was
so
like,
good.
It has to be mine as well. Like who makes Monsters stuff anymore?
I know.
Like, it can't be that old.
No, absolutely
you know what I mean?
not.
Like,
that
but
has to be. I need to find
this.
like. If you made a Monster sticker out there and you're listening to this, please just like DM me. Because I'll buy all of them.
Then the other ones just kind of look like, so there's a Fantastic Four and a Robin symbol.
Love it.
The Edie's one was a last minute thing too. So they've been there 50 years now, celebrating their 50 years. Like, really awesome. Rancid I saw in there. I was like, wow, I was only expecting nerdy shit, but why not? And then 3 buttons. Actually, this one I got from a middle store. So other side story, really quick. Super cold. Had to stop and get jackets. Went to Steel City, a fun little place, and I got this button. Do you know this reference?
How is it going to end? Not off the top of my head.
There's a character in the Truman Show who's wearing that, and he says it to her. He's like, I've been asking myself that a lot. And it's a weird, obscure reference because this Steel City was kind of like a less bougie American Eagle in terms of style, in terms of the way it was set up. It was very kind of like wood and steel and kind of on brand of like, we're the Steel City.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of Steelers stuff, a lot of black and yellow stuff. Fun fact about Pittsburgh, only state that has all of their major teams wear the same colors.
Wow.
The Penguins, the Pirates, and the Steelers, black and yellow. And that's named after someone Pitt, who's like, that's my coat of arms. It's black and yellow.
I love that because it's consistent.
And it makes sense now where I'm like, yeah, Pittsburgh, I like you more.
Yep.
But why I don't understand why that button was in that store and like mixed in with a bunch of other buttons. And it wasn't like the only one, like, here, Nick, you take it was one of 100 other ones.
That's
but
amazing.
Like it's just such a weird. Like, it wasn't the Truman store. It wasn't like, it had nothing to do with pop culture otherwise. I don't get it, but I loved it.
I would expect you to have found this at the other store.
At the comic book store, where I got this Green Lantern one in Justice League, which is also just great.
That's amazing. I love stumbling upon something that you could get lost in like that, especially when traveling.
Yeah, I really, really could.
Absolutely.
But I couldn't afford to take anything home.
No.
I'd have to sell the car if I could really just be like, and that, and that, and that.
Yep, exactly why I didn't walk out of Ruckus with a $1,500 piece. Instead, I just got the $15 mystery bag.
That's essentially what I feel like I did.
Yeah.
Like, this is, all right, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Finally, we ended our night with a river cruise. Literally, there's 3 rivers. That's why it was so fucking important and all that. There's so many built and old buildings there of like, no, we were here. The French and the English wanted it, blah, blah. So we went down one for an hour and came up and made just a giant Y, but we sat up top. There was a buffet. It was amazing too, because they were like, is anybody food restricted? Meg's like, I'm a vegetarian. Brought her a beautiful plate of Impossible Burger. Like, over my years with my wife now, I've seen a lot of vegetarian options be handed to her, and
this was actually
good
real
to me anyway. But like this one looked, I was like, okay, not bad. And just sat up top and watched Pittsburgh. Just watched it go by, watched it come back.
That's amazing.
It was a cool time.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. I'm glad that you had a good time. I also,
that's what I was going to say, man. Like, you know, we worked together. If that wasn't evident, if we didn't bring that up already, and like work's been tough and it's been a little stressful. So like a nice few days away was super duper nice. And now we're rejuvenated for the weeks to come.
Absolutely. Gotta be. Yeah. And then, but you had a real reason to go to Pittsburgh.
You're perfect. Have you ever podcasted before?
This is my first time.
Great segue. I did indeed. And it is going to bring us into the superhero section. Again, we're going to stretch the term. I think we're going to get a nerdy amount of stuff in there anyway. So we are going to close on out of this bro section and get into the superhero section where we're going to talk about tattoos.
Yes.
So we've stretched it before, and I think we're going to have a fun time in doing this in terms of stretching the superhero genre, though I do have a lot of superhero stuff to talk to about when it comes to me. Other nerdy topics that we brought up, and I want to actually start, weirdly enough, you know, it's not a Quentin Tarantino flick, guys, but weirdly enough, I want to start with your feet. You like that joke?
I do. That was very. That was good.
I saw somebody had weird sandals on with a bunch of stones, and it was like if Quentin Tarantino directed Infinity War, and I was like, "That's really good." And that fucking foot fetish love motherfucker guy. With your feet though, because like, great idea. I've been struggling with what to get tattooed on mine, and I like your idea very, very much. And it's a little niche too, which is the first fun, nerdy thing that we can also incorporate into talking about in this section.
Yeah, so when I was 18 years old, traded a bunch of freezer food from a restaurant that no longer exists in Wilkes-Barre for a full day session for my 18th birthday from my boyfriend at the time. And I was struggling. I knew I wanted a Simpsons tattoo. I knew I needed a Simpsons tattoo. First tattoo, it had to be a Simpsons tattoo because the Simpsons have been my life since I was like 8 years old. And, you know, you can go the Homer and Marge way. There's a lot of duos that you can pull from the show.
I go Burns and Smithers.
Yes, Lenny and Carl if you want to.
That'd be another good one.
But the first Simpsons episode I remember watching was a Treehouse of Horror. And up until this time, when I was young and watching it, you didn't see Kang and Kodos in anything but a Treehouse of Horror. And I thought that they were like the best. They're so funny. Their quips are great. And you see them for like 3 minutes and that's it. So that's what I went with. And I sat for like 9 hours and got my feet first tattoos. And I tell people that all the time because they're terrified to get their feet tattooed because I guess it hurts really bad. But I just I got it out of the way.
Yeah, right. That's a good call. So for mom listening right now, I feel that they are popular characters now because, like you said, back then it was only in that. But more so when I think about them, I think about they get pulled into advertising more than a lot of the main characters.
Absolutely.
Especially in Burger King. I don't know why I have them specifically pitted in a Burger King commercial, but they are the aliens, the one-eyed, tentacled aliens that in always one other aspect that sticks in my mind is constantly drooling as well.
Yes.
And it always bothered me because they're wearing these giant helmets of like, where's it all going? They have like a recycling center down there that it's going through. Is that what keeps them moist? You know, where's all the drool going? Yeah. But good pull, man. And also, too, of course, they're on your feet. Of course, you know, but I don't know of any other people who could pull the name off the top of their head. I have one person who I'll try actually later, and I'll let you know how that goes. Of like, without looking up, can you tell me their name? But like, that's deep cuts.
Yeah.
Deep cuts.
Yeah, and that's just like one of many more Simpsons tattoos to come that will make probably no sense to the naked eye.
I like that though. Yeah. Those are some of my fun ones. Pain level, it was pretty bad though.
Yes. So in the sense, like, because you don't have anything separating like your bone and the skin that's being tattooed. There's not like endless amounts of fat on your feet or like a ton of muscle. So yeah, there was a point where I had like 3 grown men, like nearing the end. I also didn't set myself up good for my first tattoo. We can backtrack on that.
Oh, boy,
didn't get a good night's sleep the night before. Didn't eat anything before showing up for 8. I can't even think about showing up for a 2-hour tattoo without at least having like a full meal, let alone 8 hours, no food. So yeah, the end of it was 3 grown men holding my leg down because it was shaking so bad from the convulsing from pain. And also basically at that point, my leg was just doing the rhythm of the machine. So yeah, not great for something that's gonna like, there was also like, there's like 18 colors in it too. Cause like the background that I have to represent the colors of space and stuff was a lot. I didn't choose that. It just kind of started happening. I'm like, okay, we're going to do this.
We're going for it. So not to bury my lead anymore, I realized that we also started this with like, that's the main reason that I went to Pittsburgh. And I got a nerdy tattoo, a Scooby-Doo tattoo, and I'm kind of rushing into this, not to take away from your story, but to say, without getting an 8-hour feet tattoo done, I fucked up in the same vein of I've been doing this even too long to say, didn't get the greatest night's sleep. So it was kind of a reaction as well. We were supposed to go for Saturday, had to go for Friday. So we essentially had to do the Pittsburgh drive to the place and get started. So you're already fatigued in a sense.
Yeah.
Because 4.5 hours in a car, especially if you're the one driving, is like, it's been a while. And we were up early to make sure that we got there because we knew we had a full day. Sleep when you're going anywhere is, did I pack this, put this, wing this, forget this. Yep. So sleep wasn't good. Believe I ate on the way, had some snacks there. Meg went first. So by the time I went, the gas tank was almost about a quarter of the way full. And I'm still tired because now I've been up for this long. Anyway, dude had to hold pretty well. And I even had to start holding me down for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's my first time meeting this guy. Obviously drove all the way out there. I initiated it all, like Meg was with me for this trip. This is quote unquote one of my finds, where eventually I think I'm going to go to one of her finds in a few months. But the point is, like, I'm just feeling bad now. I'm just feeling like a shitty client who's like, literally making those noises, almost Lamaze noises in a sense of like, come on, dude, just sit there a little bit longer. And I love him. It's a great job. It's a great tattoo. I love him. We loved the shop, the experience and all that. It's a great thing. We were saying off mic, like, first thing I noticed is they were cleaning everything. Always a good first
sign.
Like, thank
when
you.
Somebody's like doing basically a surgical procedure on your skin.
Yes. But I much rather would have had a good full meal in me a little bit before that. We did break. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because he did say, we're going to get your outline done, and then I've ordered dinner. And in the back of my head, I'm going, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Like, this is an honest sign. And I'm not super religious, so I'm saying God had a habit, whereas more I'm just like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing to happen. Like, the universe has given me what I need.
Yep, a nice little
And
gift.
I looked at my wife and I was like, we could do the same thing. Like, order food right now. Like, I was like, let's do the same thing. And I got into, and it helped. It did help a little bit to put a little bit extra in there. And then I got a nice cold water and we finished it out. But
yeah, I probably wouldn't have made it through the feet tattoos without the Crunchwrap Supreme that was given to me like probably like 3/4 of the way.
Choice.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Why not? It is full of calories and I can eat it in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great tattoo food.
Yeah. Ooh, that's an other. It's another great kind of thing of what do you like? Because I ended up doing a breakfast burrito because that's my favorite food to go for.
Hell yeah.
Not huge on eggs always, but I know there's protein in them. I know that getting the wrap is going to give carbs, and then I know that getting a meat in there of some sort is fats. I try to cover all of that, even then putting a lot of ketchup because I know I need sugars.
Yep.
Trying to do that, I think that's
everything.
trying to, because like you said, surgical procedure, it's a little traumatic. It is trauma to your body.
It depends.
So
like,
if anybody's first tattoo is listening to this first, like, go full is what we're saying.
Yeah, go full. And like, unless you're queasy, then that's like a whole other aspect that you have to get around. But I am always, especially when something's going to be strenuous, usually I like to do a smoothie. Because I usually will eat, especially like getting tattooed. I know that I'm going to be somewhere for a few hours. It's going to take a lot out of me in a weird way. And I'm probably going to eat really shitty afterwards. It's just the God's honest truth. So a smoothie, spinach and peanut butter are key in the smoothie. Because I feel like then I actually get like good nutrients and not just fruit sugars.
Iron and protein and good fats for sure. And all that.
And then a breakfast sandwich. I'm just like it could be like English muffin, egg, and butter, and I'm good. Just as long as it's some sort of breakfast food sandwiched between a toast of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got so excited. Side note, we were ordering breakfast in the back from Dunkin', and they were like, you can get a croissant, a muffin, and I heard muffin. I was like, they'll make you a fucking sandwich on a muffin? Thinking like muffin, English muffin. I was like, oh, can you imagine a bacon, egg, and cheese on like a blueberry muffin though?
God.
Figure that shit out, Duncan. I would eat that now. I mean, I know I'm particularly hungry right now, but I would eat that like today.
Yes.
More kind of nerdy tattoos on me. I recently got my bottom, what is that called? Forearm done. Shout out to Tim Wood. So first one, shout out to Rob Morrow on Instagram as Rob2, literally a 2, Rob2 Morrow, out of Graveside Tattoo right outside Pittsburgh. The actual name is escaped me. And just shout out to Graveside Tattoo because, again, walked in there. The person taking care of the front was just pleasant. The person whose studio booth they shared together, there was 2 places inside the first room that you went to. He had his friend, spouse, I don't know. There was somebody out there just hanging out all day without really what I could see as a clear purpose other than the fact that they were there for them.
Yeah.
All of them pleasant. And we're also pretty pleasant people in the fact of like, they were like, do you need anything? Do you want snacks or drinks? And we're like, no, we brought a lot of snacks and drinks. Do you want any snacks and drinks? Like, we played a fucking reverse psychology on these people. Like, oh, my tattoo guy took a bubbly from us where it's like, oh, we got you with a drink. Ha.
Just exchanging pleasantries.
And gushers. I had gushers.
Oh, I love a gusher. That's awesome.
That's real life Scranton that everybody's hearing right now. Just every now and then.
Somebody starts partying.
Tell me that's coming down my street. Nope, that's just the side street, guys. And I'm like 2 houses in. Like,
yeah. I
really hope that shows up in editing. That was loud. It's still loud.
It's almost like an ice cream truck.
Imagine.
I would.
That's a good time. Thanks for sitting through that, everyone. Gushers are always good. Rice Krispie treats, Golden Graham treats. Again, in my opinion, you want to go high calorie, high carb because that's what your body's going to suck. That is what sugar is, and sugar is what runs us, and that's what I think.
Yep.
One of the only good times to carb load, unless you said, again, queasy. So maybe don't go fettuccine Alfredo.
No, definitely not.
Breakfast always seems good. I don't know why. And I especially, so now the other thing that's happening for anybody listening is we also have fireworks. So little Ava, our little pit bull here is also breathing in between us, just so piss scared. One more side story, everybody. Wow, look at all these tangents. Fun time. You used to work at this head shop. You sold me CBD treats for this very reason, Liz. Isn't that freaking incredible? We knew 4th of July was going to happen. We don't know what the fuck is going on June 19th, but we're having fireworks again, guys, and my poor little dog can't take it.
No, CBD treats are the way to go with that because the tranquilizers that they give dogs aren't great, and so if CBD treats work, please do that.
I agree. My biggest contention is we obviously didn't know this was going to happen.
No, and
that's what the fuck is going on. So I can give them to her, and by the time they really get in her, they're going to be done up the street, and we dosed quote unquote
then
our
you
dog
just have
for
a sleepy
nothing.
pup.
I just have a really sleepy pup, and I'm like, all right, that's great. Let's go up the stairs, and she's kind of bouncing off the wall, and I'm like, let me guide you up the stairs, my little baked potato. Because she is golden and delicious, so she really becomes a little baked potato. But that was Rob Tomorrow Graveside. I got Tim Wood, a little bit more local, at Mark's Tattoo on the Carbondale Highway. This green arrow, green lantern cover. I don't know if this ever actually dawned a cover during the Hard Traveling Heroes saga in which it's become unanimous with, or if it is just the trade paperback special edition cover of it. But homie killed it, and it was a big ass because it's a lot of lines and a lot of little space with a good amount of color. And I think from afar, it's still pretty recognizable. It's still really good. The
detail reads from far away, which a tattoo like that, I feel is essential.
It was a hard ask, man. So shout out to both of those guys.
Absolutely.
Who have you been seeing recently? What was your most recent one?
So most recently, I'm not an astrology person. I'm not gonna tell you your moon signs or whatever, but I am a Scorpio, so I just chose off a flash sheet a scorpion tattoo by Chris Takis, Tattoo Weaver on Instagram. He's tattooing out of Happy Tattoo in Honesdale, right on Main Street. It's a really, really cool shop. If you've never been to Honesdale, you definitely need to go. He tattooed a scorpion on me for we both have some Scorpio energy. We're both born in November, so that was fun. And I actually booked another appointment with him. We're gonna head up there, I think near the end of the month, beginning of next month. I can't remember, but that's when we're going to get a little nerdy and do a Bride of Frankenstein tattoo.
Cool.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Very much the same exact style of this witch that I have.
Which I like too, Which I like too. Which makes me think of, because you get kind of same vibes there in sense of color palette of that's going to look cool.
It's going to be the same side profile, just on the back.
Oh, cool. I like that. I love placement. I like that. You okay, my love? No, it's fine, dear. As long as it's just a bottle of water and not your head.
Yes.
Cracking your head off the fucking... Kind of go back to the feet really quick of I like symmetry like that. So I do a lot of symmetry. I try anyway. But I was thinking really quick to run this by you, Muppets, because you like the Muppets too. Recently, I thought, and another pair of can you guess these names? Ooh, it just flew out of my head even. Isn't that so sad? I'll get there. Hold on. We'll get there. I've got to think of it. I want to say Wallace and Gromit. I'm like, no, that's stop motion, weird kind of British stuff.
You're close though.
I am. It's not that bad of a guess. If there was a Final Jeopardy and they were name the two guys who are always up going, oh, and I got Wallace and Gromit, I'd be like, Not bad. No, we're going to go. Ooh, come on. Waldorf and Statler.
Yes.
It took an extra second,
Yeah,
but
you got there.
once I get one, it's the other one that
Yes.
comes. When I'm trying to go backwards, I'm like, I got nothing.
Yeah, they come as two. You can't just do one. If there's somebody who's like, name one of them.
Yeah.
That could take forever.
Just really quick, it made me think of like, what if one of them died? Like, have you ever seen The Family Guy where I think it's then Statler who's like, this actually isn't bad when the other guy's not talking my ear off.
Yes, exactly.
That's really funny. But those on feet would look really good.
Yes,
I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, and I think we might have talked about that really briefly at work, talking about getting it to look fuzzy.
That's a big ask.
Huge.
Yeah.
I am also a Muppets fanatic. In a like sort of obsessive, like when we were raised more Henson kids than we were anything. When it was really good to be raised a Disney kid, it was like that was really because like Aladdin and everything was coming out.
We were during the Renaissance period. So
exactly.
Like, this is literally so much better than anything else they did. But
yeah.
Nobody really stopped to be like, yeah, but is it that great?
Well, right.
There's nothing else, but there was. Henson's a fucking.
Yep. So we were Henson kids.
That's awesome.
And so like I would also contemplate a Muppets tattoo, but it's got to look fuzzy.
I have to know. Yeah, it can't just be a character. I have to know that it's a fucking puppet.
Yes.
And everybody does. I don't care whether or not you know who it is. You have to say that's a puppet.
Right.
For sure.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
So that Bride of Frankenstein, though, we brought that up because I like the placement, so it'll then go on the outside.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. Because I now unconventionally, I suppose, I got something small and round at the top of my forearm, like right under the elbow pit, I guess I would call it. And usually you want to do like a full, like your tattoo that you got from Tim. It's going to be like a full sleeve almost of a tattoo. So that's why like this one's now going to just be dedicated to the spooky in my life. And it's just going to be small flash essentially. That's going to fill up this arm.
Love it.
Yeah. Because I can't do a big thing now that I wouldn't feel right doing a big thing on the backside and having this small, that's also my weird OCD symmetrical tendencies and whatnot. So
I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like I know what you're talking about. I always feel so fucking stupid when I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Where it's like, do you? 100% you're inside their fucking brain? Or when somebody's like, I know exactly how you're feeling. It's like, no.
Not necessarily.
I understand the sentiment and I understand words are stupid and then like exact blah, blah, blah. But like, I always catch myself saying it like the same way I catch myself saying never and always. Stupid fucking words. Really. Right. I mean, unless you're going to say the sun always rises in the east and sets in the west.
Yep.
Then it makes sense. But if you're like, that guy never comes here. And it's like, never? Then how do we know who that guy is?
Yeah.
You know, like what are we talking about? Or like, it always happens this way.
Always.
Like it's just a weird OCD thing. Sorry. But I think I know how you feel as I'm trying to work out my own from elbow to chest of like, all right, well, I got a Spider-Man here and a Hellboy here and then a weird Batman symbol here. And like, all right, so we worked it. Like, I feel the same way of like, now I'm playing a little bit more patchwork rather than anything else.
Right. And I like to have a plan going into something because I feel bad leaving it up to the artist in a way, because I feel like it's a lot of added pressure on them. They're already putting art on your body and then they have to, like, obviously somebody's going to give you a good suggestion because they're not going to put it in a bad spot. They're not going to let you get a tattoo that doesn't work in the spot you want it in. At least a good artist shouldn't. But they're also, if you've got stuff, you've got some stuff already, you should kind of give them an idea as to where to go, unless you're only working with a really small surface.
That's how kind of Meg went to Rob, and to both their credit. Like, I know I want it in this general, and he went and let's look, and what do you think? And again, not to shout them out enough, but like that's another good sign.
Yep.
It's
Attention
almost-
to detail.
yeah.
You're not just trying to slap something on somebody.
Yes.
You know it's a permanent fixture on their body for
Yes.
the rest of time. So
again, kind of back to this nobody asked for public service announcement of what to do. A, make sure you eat. B, if they're cleaning, it's a really, really good sign. Make sure you see them cleaning something.
Yes.
C, if they're just trying to slap some on you, it's not a commitment. Even if they keep your deposit, let's just say it's $100. You just paid $100, which is a much cheaper lesson than living with a tattoo somewhere you don't want it.
right. Absolutely.
Or a tattoo design you don't want.
Right.
Just walk away. You took a loss. No, it's a lesson.
Yep.
But damn, dude, they'll probably also be a dick when they're doing it.
Yep.
It'll probably hurt. It won't be what
There's
you want.
so
and then
many-
you're going to laser or redo.
Yeah.
Just walk away. It's
There's
okay
so
to
many
walk away.
good and talented artists. It's honestly a little oversaturated at this point. Like there's too many tattoo artists I want to get tattoos from at this point. So like, do not spend a little bit more money and go to the people that are, good at what they do and they take it seriously, Definitely like you have to go to people who respect the craft.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolute perfect way to say it. Any other nerdy tattoos coming down the pike or that you wanted to share?
So there's an endless amount, obviously. Next up, something just because I wanted it forever and it's going to be really quick and easy. I'm going to get Boo from the Mario franchise, the ghost. He's got like two different faces. The I'm scaring you face, and then the face where he's scared because you're looking at him. So I'm going to get that's going to be dueling above the knee tattoos.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have 3 giant Boo plush and probably 2 or 3 smaller, and then a bunch of little Lego figures and amiibos.
So this is a long time coming.
Yeah,
Love
him
it.
and
That's awesome.
Toad will be tattooed on me because
Okay.
they're like my dudes. They're my dudes for sure. Mario Kart, like I'm gonna always be them. So
I love that.
yeah. I also have ideas for Koopa Kid tattoos because I also think the Koopa Kids are just like the coolest Mario characters ever. And they're based off like classic music people. Like
I get lost in there.
yeah.
Like, you had me with the Boo, I knew, and maybe I could see the both faces, but no. Toad, 100%. Koopa Kid, nope, nothing there. Sorry, bro. Lost me.
Bowser Jr., I guess, is a Koopa Kid. He's like the little shitty Bowser.
Okay.
He's got like a little bandana he wears around his neck. The rest of them, very niche. They're, I think, Super Mario Brothers 2, they might be introduced. I could be completely wrong. But their art styles and stuff, even continued on to this day, are just like, they're just like so, there's these little shelled monsters with bright colors and cool sunglasses and stuff. So I love them.
Nice. One day I'm going to have the podcast set up where it's live and I can like bring stuff up.
Oh my
or have like
God.
a young Jamie. If anybody's
Yeah.
a Rogan fan out there and they know like, Jamie, bring this shit up.
Yep.
Like, for right now, the way the setup goes is, we'll
Yeah.
figure it out, guys. One day we'll use those internets, but we'll look it up once we're done here.
Yeah,
That sounds fun.
absolutely. What about you? What's next on your...
Iro. We're going to go Uncle Iro. So from just, if you didn't see the pops upstairs, some toys, a lot of love for Avatar The Last Airbender, and just I need a lot of Iro energy. I am finding myself being Zuko lately. I am just hot and angry, and getting hot and angry in situations that are not under my control. It doesn't matter how angry I get. It still happened. It's still going to be this way, and it still will happen this way. I've got to find the Iro of finding my way to zen it out and, to not just use my fiery, angry blast, but to also learn to control the lightning.
Yes.
So if you don't get that reference, anybody out there, it's a good one, and it means to kind of go with the flow, and it's going to be him sipping tea, and it's going to be done by a new artist that my wife found on Instagram, did her whole site up real nice. And
That's
just
amazing.
like we were talking about of wanting to go different places, do different things. And
Yeah.
I'm just excited to get more nerdy stuff because that's
Yeah.
almost at this point exclusively what I have.
Yeah.
I mean-
I get that. A lot of what I have left, which is weird to say, is going to be nerdy things. It's weird. Like the right side of my body is going to probably be more artist driven work, flash, stuff like that. Me just giving them an idea and seeing what they come up with. And then like the entire left hand side of my body is going to just be filled with weird references and weird pictures of things that some people might not understand at all. Like Batley from Eureka's Castle. I want him tattooed on me so badly, like being like a little beat boy, like in front of like a boombox and stuff, because he wears that like track suit essentially.
Was that Henson as well, or was that just puppets? And I'm kind of like, because I could see them in my head, and I mean the same fuzz I see. And
yeah,
like,
so
if they weren't Henson, somebody was like, "We got to get on this puppet train. They're making money over there."
If I am remembering correctly from the Defunct Land series on Henson.
That's also really weird. Sorry, side note. That's how I was like, we're friends. Oh, we're gonna be friends. Hashtag Defunctland. If you're not watching that on YouTube, good
Oh
ass
my
time.
God. Amazing. You can get so much good information you never thought you needed about things that you've loved your entire life.
Or on the Vice end, you know, because I'm very much into it. Meg even likes it, and that's like that means like it's not something that she'd go looking for, but finds herself like, wow, this is fucking interesting. And that to me is like really good presentation.
Yes.
Like when you could talk about something and somebody who doesn't really care, all of a sudden is like, this is good. And like, this is cool. Like
That's the way to
obviously
do
then
it.
for nerds who love it, that's
Yeah.
why we're sitting here.
Oh, yeah, I'm,
gushing,
like,
because
drooling
it's
over it.
correct.
Yeah.
It's that good. I'll go back and watch it. Just to be like,
I believe in that series, they do basically say that any puppets from that time, the Henson Company had consultation on at least. Or the voice actors from Henson got purged, or the puppeteers. Like there wasn't a puppet thing that didn't have some Henson mark in one way or another.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. It just shows like what he created is just beyond him. It carries through so many different places now.
Oh,
You know?
Yeah.
Like God.
It's more than a name. It is a absolute legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're starting a spoiler almost, or a teaser for our next episode. Do you want to do Henson next time? We'll figure out.
Oh
how
my
to split
God,
that up into a superhero
absolutely.
aspect, but, like,
Yes.
that'd be a good time. But
Oh, we could do if we're gonna do superhero aspect, we can do like Muppets from Space specifically.
Okay.
Because like Gonzo has to be his own superhero.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's in the Macy's Day Parade, so it is American culture.
Yeah.
Super Gonzo or
Yeah.
Gonzo the Terrific. What does he
I
go
don't
by when
remember.
he does that? Then?
When he does the cannonball thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my
figure
head.
it out for next time.
Yeah,
though.
absolutely.
In the meantime, though, this one has been great. I thank you so much. It's been a lot of time. I don't
know.
mean to keep you here longer. Thank you so very
I'm
much
sorry,
for
I've
coming
been
to hang
just
out.
gabbing.
No, that's the point, dude. That's why it's been so great. You know, we do get time at work to hang out, but we are some of those ones who also like to get some work done while we're there. So we do
Yes.
get a lot of that done. So this has just been great to finally socially hang out as well.
Absolutely,
You know, that's a great
yeah.
part about podcast and then doing all this with you. So again, I really can't say enough. Thanks, man.
I've
Thanks
loved
so much.
this so much. I thank you for having me on. Like, this was awesome. It is really nice to be able to actually have conversations not interrupted by chaos.
Yeah, no,
It
it's
really
been-
is.
It's been great.
Yep.
Kind of to close this out, though, another thing I wanted to bring up is like I love looking at nerdy tattoos as well. Like I said, I think that's kind of where eventually I'll go for all of mine. You want to do the tagging on the Facebook, or I think you could tweet us. We're still working Twitter. Kicks me out a lot, dude. I don't understand why, and not like puts me on suspension like other people.
Yeah.
It's like, what's your password? I'm like, shit.
God,
Gotta
I
do
don't
this
know.
again. Like, come on, man.
And
You
some
can't
days you're
remember
just
now.
like, I'm not going to try to figure it out right now.
That's exactly what happens. If you can't find us on Twitter, guys, that's exactly what happened. Where I'm like, later, and then later's in a week or so. But all the social media and stuff is great. But the thing that I ask the most for is just like a word of mouth. You know, if you know a friend who likes Buds Bros and superheroes, if I got a fucking show for them. My name has been Nick James. I've been joined by just an awesome friend, a great person who I think you're going to see back on the show.
Lizz.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Buds, Bros, and Superheroes are out of here.